how are you?
I am very well, but a bit autistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a very intense tour, playing every single night. How are you finding it?
It's been working out surprisingly good because like 5 days into the tour you're really sore, like your body hurts, your throat is fucked and all that, but suddenly you get into this like second sort of breathing after a while, so like you start to learn the ropes of the whole thing, and then it's not really as hard anymore.
Yeah.
It comes to flow to it after a while. That works, you know. As long as, I mean, if you get sick, it's going to get really hard. But we only have one sick person on the bus, so we're sort of been going surprisingly well.
In the past, you've been touring with Cradle of Filth and Behemoth and Down. Now you're on stage with Beast Milk. Do you think they're a better suited band for you?
Oh yes, very much so. I don't know really what we were. I mean, it was a good idea to tour with a lot of those bands, and we would definitely not have been able to do this tour in this particular way if it wasn't for that. But at the same time, I think it's a bit late as well. You know, we've been doing a bit too much opening stuff, and if you're opening up, it's not really your night. You're not. You can't really do things exactly as you want them to be. Whereas now, I mean, we picked Beast Milk because we love their music and they're good friends, and you know, we're in charge now. So this, to me, is a completely different thing. And like last time we were here, those gigs don't even feel like gigs in a certain sense. And you're always, or at least I am. We were laughing about that the other day. It's like you're sort of working in defense all the time when you're an open band, you know, because you never know, you know, what sort of crowd you'll get. So you're always working in opposition, which makes good rock concerts because become very aggressive and what do you say, stern, like yeah. But yeah, this is better, much better.
When you're opening, do you feel like you have something to prove more than when you're headlining?
I don't know if it's the proving part. It's more just, you know, like this strange sort of animosity pointed to yourself and undirected, like everywhere. You're in a strange space when you don't know the crowd, and then you sort of don't know yourself either. It's a strange situation. I don't like the opening situation that much, especially not if it's. I mean, it's one thing when we did tour with Ezine or something like that. It's wonderful, but when you tour with a band like Down in the south of the U.S., it's a completely different thing. But it was good, though. Yeah.
Your album Sister's been out for over a year now. How do you reflect on it, and have any of the songs taken on a new meaning now you've played them so many times live?
Well, it has changed a lot. I mean, to most people who listen to it, it's probably just an album, but for us, it's a place in time. I mean, I have listened to the album since we released it, you know, but to me, the record was that time for us, where a lot of things were happening in our lives. So to me, it's a good way to look back on where things were at the time. But they're always evolving in the life situation as well. To me, they gain new meaning every night. You know, it's this expanding thing. Every time every time you play them in a live situation, they expand. You know. But it goes the other way as well. I mean, that whole process also makes the whole thing more concluded and strange to me. You know. I get a bit farther away from the songs at the same time as I'm coming closer to them. It's a strange relationship, I guess. Yeah.
On the records we can hear post-punk and goth rock influences. Are there any particular bands from this field that you listen to a lot?
It's I think we're all quite obsessed with a lot of the music that came in the early 80s. Bands that I think even at that point didn't like those labels, you know, bands that were more interested in it. But to me, of course, early Nick Cave and the Birthday Party has been a major influence on me. But more in my personal life rather than musically, you know. I think we were listening to more post-punk records around the time of the second album than we did on this one, you know. So it's, I don't know if it had that as big of an influence as some people might think, actually. Around the time when we wrote Sister was turned off our stereos in a way. We were really trying to listen to a music that was sort of reverberating between the five of us rather than... But that's also some of a lot of our influences, of course.
Yeah.
You know.
You recorded the album in Stockholm. What kind of studio?
Studio Cobra.
Okay. Do you think maybe in Solitude in the future could record a record by themselves, maybe in an isolated environment?
That was actually the plan with this album, but I'm really glad we didn't. I'm not sure if we could, no. Maybe a smaller thing in some kind of way, but we, as a band, I think we work well if it's a really good producer. And Kumi, who did work with us on Sister, he just understands us completely, and I think we become quite neurotic in the creative process, you know. We go a bit mad, so it's good to have somebody who's more pragmatic than you are to sort of raise a finger every now and then. Not to change the music, but just to accentuate that, oh, maybe he has a good opinion or whatever. And, because when you're writing, it's all about emotions and gut feelings, so after a while you become just this... you become very strange people to be around because you're just thinking, you know, with your stomach all the time, and that's it's good to have somebody there.
You featured on a program called The Dark Side of Solitude, where you performed the television. What kind of experience was this, performing in the castle, and would you do something like that again?
Well, it was a very playful thing for us because we knew the girl who did the interview has connections with this really big, we have this thing called TV1 and TV2 in Swedish, which is SVT, and she's been working for them, and we had this opportunity to do something, and that channel is like it's a part of the folk soul of Swedish people. So once you just mention that name, you can do a bit whatever you want. So we took our chance and went to this castle in our hometown. I don't know, like I said, it was just a very playful day. We were just experimenting and seeing what would happen. Wasn't that groundbreaking on a personal level. It was a really interesting day. It was nice, like playing next to these swords from some Swedish kid lying on the floor because we had to move it to get an amplifier in there and stuff like that. That was an interesting activity.
The artwork for Solitude, you do it yourself?
Yeah, on this one.
On this one. Did you do everything on one?
More or less, yeah. I get like technical assistance from my friend Eric, but that's more because I do everything by hand. I don't understand the computers when it comes to design. I just do everything by hand. So I got some assistance to put it in the right, format and everything, so it would work. But apart from that, it's more or less everything. Yeah.
Do you own a computer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I own a computer, but designing things on a computer is not. I grew up making fanzines, so I'm still using those things I learned there.
In the past you collaborated with Erik from Martin, Anna Norberg and Jarod from Swans. How did these collaborations come about?
Very spontaneously, you know. Erik is, I mean, he's just, he understands our point of view aesthetically. And even if it changes, he's very fast to catch up with our ideas and with it. So that's just a natural thing. We're on the same wavelength with a lot of things, so it just works perfectly. Anna was a bit more just by chance, you know. We had been friends for a really long time, and I had made this song outside of In Solitude, and we were like, can you sing something? And she was like, you know, oh, I can't sing. And then she tried, and she, you know, she has this amazing voice, so we just, so we used her in that. And Jarod was, when we got to know her a bit, we, you know, of course, one of the first things we were thinking was that we had to collaborate in some way, so we did.
You also play in the band No Future. What outlet does this band give you in Solitude to start?
A very different one, and an extremely important one. No Future is a project. It's almost like there is this great moment when you just start a band and the first thing you do, like you're at this point where you haven't really mapped out what like the concept is or whatever. And we're very much keeping it that way with No Future. We're doing whatever feels important at that time, and it's a very different constellation of people. It's me and my brother and two guys from a band called Reveal, and the areas we touch on lyrically, aesthetically, and like atmospherically is very different from it's a very different project.
You've been closing the shows on this tour with He Comes, which is the opening track on the album. How come?
We started playing it this summer because we were afraid to play it because we thought we wouldn't, you know, be able to catch what it catches on the album. But we realized that's not really the point with playing it live. The point with playing it live is doing something with it that is more in line with a concert situation. So it's a bit different. But when we started playing it, there was this feeling about the song that it's a bit of a farewell, I guess. It felt like a good cloudy way to, you know, take your hat off and disappear.
In the past you used a stage name called Monko.
Yes.
You stopped using this now. Why is this?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a thought-through thing. It was just a nickname that our first producer gave me during the recordings of that album. Because I was reading a lot of sinister literature, and that's an old Swedish name for the devil. So when we released it, we just put that name on there. And then I sort of forgot about it until people started mentioning that I wasn't using it anymore. And then when we looked at the record, we just realized, yeah, it's like been the name that's been going around. So it wasn't that, it wasn't like I was the... It added to a thing that I like became this character in the band, like I was standing beside the four others, and that was annoying me very much. Same goes for a lot of things we did in the past, and we don't want it that way. Everybody's as much of a frontman or not frontman as anybody else in this band. And that name sort of makes this allusion to like a frontman concept, which disgusts me a bit.
Okay, thank you very much for going to speak.
Thank you.
Have you got anything you'd like to say to fans?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's important that I come, I think, at this particular time, because it's something's aiming in a very special place and has been doing that for the latest 12 days or what it's been. We're getting a lot out of this in in very peculiar ways, and hopefully others will as well take their talent in front.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.